What's up, everybody? Before we start the podcast, I just want to give a big thank you and shout out to Marcos Laura. Thank you for coming on the podcast, man, especially for being such a good sport. Thank you, guys, and let's get back to the show.
My gosh, I feel like I should be Papoose now. It's like, or a gift for gab, anatomically analyze and
Well, thank
yeah.
you.
Rest in peace, gift for gab. Yeah,
Yeah, Marcos, man, you're totally fine, bro. I
yeah,
really appreciate you coming once again to the podcast, bro. I really wanted to have somebody that has been doing comedy in the community, in the community in Rockford. So thank you again once again for coming, man. I really appreciate it. Before we get started though on your comedy, like what you do and stuff, if you can just tell us a little bit about yourself, where you come from, where you grew up, and how comedy came about.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I grew up not too far from here, born and bred in Rockford. Uh, Spent like the first half of my childhood living behind the old Sutherland's hardware store.
Okay.
And spent the second half of my childhood living near Cherryvale,
Okay.
and then I'm still living in Rockford, so I mean, really haven't, haven't the apple hasn't fallen that far from the tree. I realize that's not what the idiom means, but hey, I'm using it anyway. Um, what got me into comedy in a weird way? So I remember when I was in high school, and I read autobiography of Malcolm X. That
Okay.
book changed my life. And when Malcolm talked about speaking truth to power and telling it right to the ruling class's face, I'm like, man, that's beautiful.
Mm.
And at first I tried doing that through music, and I found I can do that more directly towards the true comedy.
Okay.
Because, I mean, through music, I mean, and no disrespect to anyone, but if you look at a group like Rage Against the Machine, who've been very, very, left wing in their views and very blunt about them,
Mhm.
and it's Paul Ryan's favorite band. I mean, Paul Ryan, who was the face of the neo-conservative movement. And it's like, that's his favorite band. Were you listening to the lyrics?
Mm.
Or if you look at how many, like, how many people, like, grew up listening to, like, golden era hip hop were racist? I mean, I'm not saying they're, like, cross-burning racist, but
Yeah,
they're,
yeah.
like, over here with, when Trump said about Mexicans, he said what I was feeling. It's like, well, then you obviously weren't listening to lyrics of these hip hop songs. So
Yeah.
you were you just wanted an excuse to say the N word. That's the only reason you were listening. I can't. Oh, so with comedy is like I can more directly say what I mean, and even then people still don't get it a lot of times. But well, I
Mm.
think more people get it.
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
think it generates more conversations.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, man. Um, yeah, like who inspired you, or like who's the like who inspired you, or like where did you find comedy in a way?
I remember like when I was a kid, and Def Comedy Jam was big, and BET Comic View was big, and I saw this comedian named Damon Williams. And I'm like, man, this dude's funny. This dude's saying exactly what I would love to be able to say to people.
Mm.
He's making some great points I would love to be able to make while entertaining people, while being funny. And I had no idea. Dude's from Chicago.
Mm.
And he opened for the Kings of Comedy on tour. And then as I watched more stuff, then like Chappelle had Paul Mooney on his show.
Mm.
So I'm like,
Yeah.
this dude's funny. I want to check out more of his stuff.
Yeah,
And
Paul
then
Mooney.
and then I checked. I was like, oh wow, this dude's doing exactly
Yeah.
what I want. Talk about a dude who's speaking truth to power. Talk about a dude who's taking Malcolm X's message
Mm.
and sticking punchlines at the end. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
And then I found out that, and it's funny because all goes. Actually, what first stand-up comedian who caught my attention was Eddie Murphy when I was a little kid.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
And I remember just going to see the Eddie Murphy Raw tour when I was a little kid. And I mean, I only got to see like 7 minutes of his set. And my dad got so embarrassed, like, oh, he didn't know it was going to be like that.
Yeah.
My dad's, immigrant from Mexico. So, I
Oh, okay.
mean, he was still learning American culture.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And, I mean, we were both pretty much learning American culture at the same time,
Mm.
both they.
but did you accept it more easily because you're a little bit younger and you're over here in the
No, I think my dad's accepted American culture more easily than I have.
okay, okay, okay.
I think there's more things about it that I want to change than he does. You know, I mean, he learned how to adapt and thrive, which a lot of Mexican immigrants do, which is why they hate us. You know, and he's pretty content with that, and good for him. That's good. I am so happy. You know what, dude? It's like, you know, I'm always gonna support, support our people being happy, finding something that works for them, finding, how to take care of their families. I'm always going to support that. But here's the funny thing about that Eddie Murphy show. I did get to see his opener though. Do you know who that was?
No.
Paul Mooney.
Oh,
I
really?
didn't find that out until a few years ago when I was reading his memoir.
Yeah,
And I'm
yeah,
like, holy shit, I got to see my hero back in the day.
yeah. Oh, shit. Yeah, yeah.
And then, but my main hero, really, in comedy, my main hero that really I was really enthusiastic about and tried to follow and tried to find out everything about was Damon Williams, and
Okay.
I wound up getting to work with him numerous times. I got to work with him this past summer out at Levings Lake. Here's what the thing cracks me up about. You've heard of Sundays in the Park at Levings Lake, right?
Is it like an event?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah, they
okay,
do
got
it every summer, and I guess they've been doing it for decades.
it. Okay.
And then, so the park district, puts it on or finances it. And Sundays in the Park, I think it's always, as far as I know, it's always been like black promoters and producers doing it. And then there's also a Latino version called Domingos en el Parque.
Okay.
Never been booked for Domingos en el Parque.
All
Been booked
right.
for Sundays in the Park twice.
What happened?
I don't know. Ask
Yeah,
them.
yeah,
As Park was like, how come y'all never have this any Latino comedians on Domingos en el Parque?
yeah.
It's like Sundays in the Park has comedians. Sundays in the Park
Yeah.
has a Latino comedian.
Yeah. Do you feel like there's a big comedian Latin scene?
Yeah, yeah, and I'm seeing something that I've never seen before in my life. Where in Chicago,
Mm.
there's especially there's a big there's just like all of a sudden there's an emergence of all these Latino comics, and it's beautiful. I mean, I think when people think about Latino comedians in Chicago, well, they'll probably think about Joey Villagomez first and foremost, or probably Michael Kendo, Mikey O, who's produces a lot of shows out there, and he's produced like some of the biggest independent shows in Chicago. And
Okay.
that dude has like just laid down so much groundwork from which so many people are benefiting. I think it's probably people benefiting from it who don't even realize it's because of Mike Eo. And then Mike Eo helped put Joey Villagomez on the map, who was working with Bill Burr.
Okay.
Avi Sanchez, with whom I've worked and even brought out to a couple shows. He's got a special on HBO. Gwen La Roca, who was on Monday show, was just announced yesterday, is going to be on HBO.
Oh, okay, cool,
Yeah,
man.
and then she was just in West Stereo, out here in West Side Rockford, Monday night. Um, and then I think probably the person that everyone's seeing as being like the next one to join those ranks, I would say, is Oscar Carvajal. And I'm sure there's probably a bunch of other Latino comedians who are older than him who would be like, motherfucker, why do you leave me out? I mean,
Yeah,
that's just who comes to mind, man. Like I
yeah.
said, there's so much talent, but Oscar Carvajal, I think, is getting a lot of attention,
Mm,
and he's brilliant. I love what he's doing. He's a
okay.
great writer, has great work ethic, and yeah, I just love what he's doing. Um, and there's so many. There's Tito. There's Jess Martinez. There's Las Locas comedy. Um, I mean, other places like in Madison, has Sean Vasquez. Milwaukee. I don't know how much he claims it, but like Tom Johnson, brilliant comic out of there.
Mm,
He's uh he's mixed black and Dominican,
okay. Yeah,
and
cool, cool.
brilliant comics. So shout out to Tom Johnson, just brilliant comics. Want to put that out there, and I'm sure it probably left out some Milwaukee Latinos who are gonna be like motherfuckers, like what?
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
yeah, definitely take your time, man. I know we're not
yeah,
gonna get to every single
yeah,
detail. You're always welcome back,
yeah.
man.
Well,
Because
thank
yeah,
you. And
yeah,
also, we probably don't want to. want to sound like a Biz Marquee like dedication track either.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, do you listen to much hip hop?
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
here and there.
yeah,
Obviously, bro. Like I'm not in a way like I'm not really educated. I'm not fully informed on everything. I just
yeah,
hear and know. What's up, guys? I just want to take a quick ad break to show some love and promote my boy Jay Skrilla show this December 3rd at the Texas Lounge. Must be 21. Free entrance, special drinks, guys, and there's gonna be a bunch of performance by Trench Baby, Sancho Domingo, Bangalore, Flair, Heathen, Star, Cecil Gats, Jay Church, and Shadow God. So definitely, if you're around South Main, Rockford, Illinois, guys, definitely stop by December 3rd at the Texas Lounge by Jay Skrilla. Thank you guys. I
yeah.
know that sounds dumb, but
I was just because well, because of Vic, and I see
yeah,
you got
yeah.
Chris Jeebus logo up there, and then I forgot that gentleman's name, but very talented Latino painter, and
Aldo sauce.
yeah, and I
Yeah.
know he's got like a lot of hip hop and what he does, and so yeah,
Yeah, I mean, like,
so
for example, man, like I might know more mainstream than underground because
yeah,
mainstream, it's mainstream.
yeah,
You'll know the name, but like underground, not too familiar or the history behind it. So and I definitely want to capture some of that underground or whatever's coming out of Rockford and stuff.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
That's beautiful. You can tap into what's coming going on in your community. You know, I mean, obviously for us, Rockford,
yeah.
but for anyone who's bringing out what's going on in their community. I mean, like what Stretch and Bobito did in New York.
Mhm.
You know, that's beautiful.
Yeah,
And I
yeah,
think that there's always been people who've done that, and they usually go unappreciated,
yeah, yeah,
but
man.
they're the unsung heroes, no doubt.
Yeah, yeah, man. Yeah, like, well, I mean, like, I hope you don't think I've been here for like a long while, man. It's just this recent year, like this 2021, the beginning
Yeah,
of this year, I lost my job. I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do because after being at a job, busting my ass for almost like 3, 4 years, like when I got fired, bro, I felt like I didn't have shit. I just
yeah,
had whatever they gave me, and I wasted it. Like paychecks. I wasted it, and everything got cut off. My insurance, all that shit, bro. And I'm just like, wow, what do I got to work for? I busted my hands for nothing.
yeah,
Yeah, and
yeah,
so little by
mhm,
little, I hooked. I linked up with Vic, and from there, Vic he brought me a little by little out to the community, and he's the one that like told me to go
yeah,
to you, bro, because uh. Me and my friend were talking about comedy and stuff, and how we really don't see it, but obviously there's way more in Rockford that I really don't know. So,
yeah,
I was very excited when I found out that you were doing that in Rockford. So
yeah,
yeah, it's very beautiful. Um, I hope people come check it out. Because I thought I had fun, bro. Last night was
yeah,
fun. Like I shit you not. I'm a nervous person. What I did yesterday, I really don't do at all. I usually stay home, do my
yeah,
drawings and shit. But I was like, I really wanna, I really wanna be in there because I watch comedy through YouTube.
yeah.
Yeah, like I watched Tony Hinchcliffe. I don't know who you.
Oh yeah, yeah,
You
yeah.
watch Kill Tony?
I don't I haven't watched any of his stuff, but
Yeah,
the only thing I've watched is that infamous viral clip.
yeah, yeah.
And I
So
know it's not the best. I would like to assume it's not the best representation of what he does and who he
yeah,
is.
yeah, yeah.
I mean,
But
yeah,
but that's the closest I feel like
yeah,
I get to being out in a comedy show because
yeah,
he records the performances of people he brings on that he draws from a
yeah,
bucket and shit, and I think that's pretty cool. It just makes me feel like I'm in there. And then yesterday when I was actually in there,
yeah,
bro, I felt by the time the headliner came in, bro, I felt like I was really like in there,
yeah,
and it was
yeah,
definitely dope, man. Hell yeah,
yeah.
man.
And that's how most. Actually, you know what I mean. Realistically speaking,
Yeah,
even though I mean that was like the first show we're doing out there, so obviously we still have a lot of bugs to work out and everything. First and foremost, lighting. I know why that didn't occur to me when I was setting up the show, but well, I mean when you got owners who are into it,
yeah,
when you
yeah.
got the people who have either managers or owners who are into it, that's usually a tremendous help, and
Okay,
that's
yeah.
something you wanna keep up.
Yeah, yeah,
But Oh, yeah, shit, I forgot where I was going. I got like
No.
lost like halfway through that. Thought I'm like, why am I here?
Yeah,
Where are my glasses? They're on yeah. No, but what was it? Was I saying? Oh yeah, but like last night. So I mean, that's probably a good description of how like the average show goes,
okay, yeah.
and especially I mean, we gotta consider. I mean, for comedians, we're really, for those of us who are really doing it full time. I've been very fortunate that I've been able to produce so many shows in the area.
Okay, yeah, yeah.
But I mean, for most working comedians are
Uh-huh.
road dogs.
Yeah, yeah.
So we're going different, from town to town. You never know where you're gonna end up, especially like if you're working through an agency.
Hmm.
I mean, you hear like all the horror stories of people who work for agencies where they
Oh, yeah,
like
yeah,
show
yeah.
up at a bar, and you've probably seen the meme of like where there's like people like in an empty, just like this empty building,
Mm.
and there's like this rectangle on the floor, and it says, "Here's your, this is the stage for tonight's show."
Yeah, yeah, man. Yeah,
And yeah,
yeah, dude.
yeah,
Yeah, trust me, man. I listen to a bunch of podcast comedians, and yeah, dude, I hear all the
yeah.
stories and shit.
So
And I always
yeah,
commend people that pursue comedy or do comedy because that they say it's a hard art, bro. And to tell you the truth, it does seem like a hard art to keep the ball rolling when you're on stage. Yeah,
it's constantly keeping the ball rolling,
yeah,
keeping the
yeah.
ball rolling when you're on stage. When you come off stage, making sure you got your next show lined up, knowing where your next show is, how you're gonna get. Are you one promote? Do you have to promote to your next show? Okay, then have you messaged the people you need a message to make
Mm-hmm.
sure they come out? Have you have you communicated with the venue? Yeah, so I mean, it's constantly keeping the ball rolling and just trying to stay relevant and or
Yeah.
trying to be relevant in the first place. Fuck staying relevant, but be relevant, for people to even care. And
Yeah.
that's one thing that a lot of venues don't understand. Just a lot of people in general don't understand is that I mean, most comedians don't have followings.
Yeah, yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
if you find like the most underground rapper or punk rock band or whatever, they have a following.
Yeah.
If they're able to tour, it's because they have some degree of following.
Followers.
But with comedy, people don't go to comedy shows to see a particular comedian.
Yeah.
People don't come out, like last night, and Ronnie Ray. I mean, talk about a guy with a great resume with great achievements. Obviously his whole thing is the only comedian who's been on Nickelodeon and Playboy Channel, but he's been on so many other channels besides that. It's just those two when you hear that juxtaposition.
Yeah.
But there's been so many other TV shows and such on which he's appeared.
And
That
I was
yeah,
gonna ask you. Sorry if I
yeah.
cut you off, but how did you meet up with him, or was it the people at the club or the lounge, the JK lounge?
Here's how I met up with Ronnie Ray many years ago when Laugh Factory first
Okay.
opened in Chicago. Um, there was a guy named, oh my gosh, I forgot this guy's name, but there was this thing called Underdogs of Comedy,
Okay.
and I
Yeah.
forgot the other
That
gentleman's
that
name. And I
sounds
feel terrible.
familiar.
Yeah, and I feel
Yeah.
terrible for forgetting the other gentleman's name.
Yeah.
And my friend, actually Tara Terry, another comedian from here, said if you want to get in the Laugh Factory, go go to this guy's open mic. It was just in the south side of Chicago,
Okay.
which is probably at least like a 20-minute drive from Laugh Factory.
Okay. Yeah.
So I think I was doing a show somewhere else. I think it might have been like somewhere else on the south side, and it was the same night he was running his open mic. And I think that he co-hosted it with Buff Bay, and or she might have. I think she might have hosted it herself. And then I got there as it was wrapping up.
Okay.
Like Buff recognized me, and all, and she introduced me as a producer, and he's like, "Well, I got a show coming up at the Laugh Factory. You want to do that?" Like, he didn't even see me perform,
Oh
but it's
shit.
just
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
so much of it is like I think I can't remember who said 90% of life is showing up,
Yeah.
and it's one
True.
of those cases. So I went to the Laugh Factory, um, and the host of that show was Ronnie Ray,
Okay.
and the headliner I think was headliner was comedian Spida, who's coming out tomorrow night to Stockyard.
Yeah, I seen that. Yeah,
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 yeah.
yeah. Dope,
So
dope.
he
Yeah.
was headlining Spide, and Spide and I have been working together ever since. And then I don't think anyone got to talk to Ronnie much that night. But then I
Mm,
saw him again at another show at the Comedy Shrine. I think like probably back in 2018, 2019, around then. I think it was his birthday. And I
okay.
don't even think he was performing. I think he was just there to watch because a mutual friend of ours, Mars Tim, was performing, and I
Okay.
was doing a guest spot for him. And I'm like, Ronnie, dude, it's like I love what you do, and I'd love to bring you out. I don't know if I can afford you.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And he's like, well, let me know what you got, and we'll make something work.
Okay. Yeah, yeah,
And
dope.
then yeah, so
Do you ever get worried that like when you do meet a comedian like that, like, and you want to ask them the question, hey, how can I get you out here? Do you ever worry like they might ask for too much money or might say no?
oh yeah, I mean, I worry about that every time, but at the same time, it's like, look, okay, I mean, worst thing they can say is no. Actually, worst thing they can do is just leave you on red. Like,
Or roast
uh,
you and then leave.
fortunately, they've never roasted me. I'll never forget, dude. There's one comedian out of Chicago,
Yeah.
and I won't say his name just in case. And it's not. Fortunately, I wasn't the person who asked,
Okay.
but someone else asked him. It just is I tried to book him for something. I was just like
Yeah.
overhearing this. This was outside of Jokes and Notes when that was still open, and
Okay.
we're all waiting at in line for the open mic.
Yeah, yeah.
And he's like, man, can you believe what he offered me? And I was thinking it was another guy. I said, oh yeah, so and so wants to be in It's like shit. I don't leave town for any less than $300. I tell you what. I was like, tell him to
Yeah.
suck my dick. No, no. Better yet, tell him to suck the back of my dick. He doesn't deserve the whole dick.
Yeah, dude. Eesh. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, I mean,
Yeah.
cause
Fortunately, I never got a response like
okay,
that. But if
okay,
someone says like, man, it's like I usually work for a lot more. It's like okay, I would
yeah,
prefer someone just give me a counter offer and say this is just to the extent. Like if I ask you, can you come out and do this much time?
yeah,
Tell me how much money that's going to take. Yeah, don't just leave me on red. That
yeah,
to me, that's rude.
yeah, very, yeah,
And if and shit, if you think the amount I offered you is rude, if you think that's an insult, shit, you know what? I think probably be better off if they were like the other gentleman. All of a sudden,
yeah,
and all of a sudden, and I mean, it probably would be better. It's like suck my dick. Yeah, it's like the back of my dick. It's like okay, now I know this. It's like, well, what's the amount then for full shaft?
right, yeah, bro. And I only asked that question because comedians, bro,
Yeah,
like they comedians are made to make jokes and shit, so
yeah.
yeah, I just thought to ask that question. Um, yeah, like. Well, I mean, we're about that 30-minute break, man. So we're gonna head to the smoke room, talk a little bit more, and chop it up. Usually, I like to use the first 30 minutes to chop into clips and then put on Facebook and stuff.
Okay.
But yeah, man, continue to watch on my YouTube, guys. I really appreciate it. I really appreciate you, Marcos,
Yeah, thank
man.
you. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm happy to
So
be here. Yeah.
yeah, man. What's up, guys? I just want to take a quick ad break to show some love to Marcos's lineup that he got coming up from this video. Definitely go check him out and follow him on Instagram or Facebook. Definitely check out his YouTube and Patreon to see more dates and sets that he will be doing. But from this video, the December 4th at Lady Works, December 6th, West Side Showroom, December 10th, Underground, right there, downtown Rockford. Shout out Underground, definitely dope spot I seen. December 11th, Ridley 5, I believe, if I'm reading that right. Definitely go follow him, guys, to check out to see and clear and for sure clarify his dates and sets. Hope you guys enjoy the rest of the video. So let's get back to it. I love to use comedy to make me smile when I feel like I can't.
That's the whole point. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, man. And yeah, man, I really always enjoyed it, man. I never really talked too much about comedy because a lot of my friends they were really into comedy, man. Like back then, I was very naive and dumb.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
And
no,
comedy, in a way, comedy is generic. People understand jokes. People understand, you know,
certain jokes. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Certain jokes.
Yeah,
I mean, everyone's got a favorite joke. Not
yeah,
everyone has a favorite comedian.
yeah. That's true. Or they do, but they like them for the wrong reasons.
Yeah,
And I've seen that a lot. I've seen
yeah.
that. Yeah, yeah. But yeah. So you said you've been doing comedy for a while, man. Where did you start?
I started at I was at my first two gigs for the Irish Rose.
And that's
Uh, that's in downtown Rockford.
okay.
Yeah,
Okay. Yeah.
actually, I think like one block over from. No, do you want shit? Same block where it was last night. Yeah, it all
Oh,
comes around
really?
full circle. Yeah,
Yeah,
so
that's
it
dope.
just came around full circle. There's
Yeah.
just like I think like four businesses over maybe.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Because like after Deli Italia, you've got what, or it used to be Deli Italia, now it's the J and K. So right after J and K is what Social, I think, then the Office, and then Irish Rose.
Okay. Yeah.
The
And those spots are places you can perform comedy. Oh, really?
It used to be. I mean, yeah, and at the time, it was actually it's another Latino comedian, Jesus Correa, who's also a local artist.
Okay.
He he put me on there, put me on a show, and
That's dope, dude.
yeah.
I know comedians, they use or they say that they got to get blessed in, from a like a legend comedian or somebody that's been in. I mean, yeah,
Yeah, I mean,
definitely correct me if I'm wrong, bro. But like like Mitzi Shore,
oh yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, a certain thing like
Oh, I
that.
mean, yeah. I mean, also that was a completely different time and
Yeah,
operated completely differently. Saying, yeah, Missy Shore was pretty much a pipeline to the Tonight Show,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
which
man.
at the time, I mean, that was pretty much it. If you weren't on the Tonight Show, you weren't considered a comedian.
Yeah, yeah. And I wonder if there's something like that in Illinois, where like there's somebody that has been doing comedy for a long time in Illinois, and usually to get that approval, like you go through or
I'll
you
say
get
there
blessed.
are people that people should recognize
Okay.
and appreciate what they've done. But I mean, yeah, I mean now it's like we can all be our own Tonight Show with through YouTube, through Instagram, through Snapchat, through TikTok.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, anyone can go viral. I mean, see, I mean, if you think about it, when you think about the highest rated show, like how many views does it have? How many people are watching the highest rated show? Like something like the Super Bowl will be like what, like 100 million people watching that?
Yeah, yeah, probably.
You know, look at how many videos on YouTube have billions of views.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
Dude, if you were, I mean, if you rapped on Despacito, you got more exposure than performing at the Super Bowl.
yeah, that's true. Yeah, well. So all right. So what about? Do you remember your first bomb?
Oh yeah, yeah,
Okay.
and actually, what, and this kind of goes back. I never did fully answer your previous question as far as someone who, but I would say, once again, Mikey O. I mean, definitely someone who's made a lot of careers.
Okay.
Um, Damon Williams has nurtured so many comics. I'm not saying you have to go through Damon in order to make it,
Okay.
but for those who have gotten his blessing, or those are like Tanisha Rice came out under him. Probably like the first big trans comic, Flame Monroe.
Okay.
You know, Kevin Hart. Has shouted him out
Okay. Yeah.
for being an influence and such, and so yeah. I mean, but my first bomb was I mentioned jokes and notes earlier.
Yeah.
And when I first came in, I was naive, and he was like,
Yeah.
"Oh yeah, I killed at the Irish Rose twice.
Yeah.
I killed." This is the thing that's like so the opposite of how things normally happen. Which like
Mhm.
my first two shows, I got paid. I think probably even my first three shows, I probably got paid.
Okay.
It even
Nice.
wasn't much,
Yeah. Yeah.
but it's like I mean, normally it's not uncommon to be doing comedy for
Like
a
24
year or
hours.
two and
Okay.
never
Yeah.
seeing any money.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
And, I mean, when I say money, I'm not talking about your first 1,000.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm saying
Like.
enough to like pay for the parking,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, yeah, man. Like I hear
yeah,
stories. They
yeah.
like every comedian says that like when you first start off, at least the first couple years, depending on how good you are, you barely make enough for stuff.
You
Yeah.
don't make money. It's like I put it this way: if you're a doctor,
Mhm.
you spend like $100,000 on college. You put in $100,000 before you get a penny back.
Mm.
You work for free doing a residency. If you're a teacher, spend tens of thousands of dollars to get that to get that degree.
Mm.
You work for free for half a school year doing student teaching before you see a penny. If same with you're a lawyer, you spend hundreds of thousands of dollars on a law degree. I mean, even and with so many other jobs where you apprenticeships. And basically, your first 4 years of comedy, you can look at that as your apprenticeship. You can look at that as your college. You're not going to make money off of that.
Yeah.
And I mean, easily, definitely most comedians don't make enough to pay their bills solely off of comedy.
Yeah.
But also, then the question is, what do you consider a comedian? At what point do you consider? I mean, most people who I mean, put it this way, most people who describe themselves as comedians are not making enough to pay their bills
Okay.
off
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
that alone.
Yeah.
And yeah, and also a lot of that depends on how frugally you live. I mean, I'm Mexicano on my dad's side and Boliviano on my mom's side, so I'm real good at living frugally.
Yeah. Okay.
Yesterday, I'll put it this way: yesterday was the first day that we turned on the thermostat at my house. Since last winter,
Okay.
so that's how frugally we're living.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like I got my wife a space heater for the bedroom,
Yeah.
so she can stay cozy in there and read her manga. And me,
Yeah.
once again, I'm Boliviano, so not only am I frugal, but also I got that. I'm made for that mountain weather.
Mm.
So 30 degrees, I'm wearing a hoodie. That's nothing. That's
Yeah.
nothing. If it's 30 degrees outside, it's at least 40 degrees inside my house. I'm comfortable.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's dope, man.
Yeah. So, but I still didn't answer the question the first time I bombed. Okay. So then went down to, so I think probably like one of the first shows I did in Chicago, or it was, once again, so fucking naive. I just saw like there was this ad for Jokes and Notes was looking for comedians or was looking for just performers. It said, as like comedy. I think there were even like a couple singers that night. And Tony Schofield, the comedy legend, who I did not realize at the time,
Okay.
comedy legend. He's the one who's running this Thursday night showcase. So call this number. I call up. They put me on the list. I go there, and I mean my comedy's grown in different directions, but
Okay.
still at its heart, I think is I try to be aware of what's going on in the world around me.
Okay.
And at the time, Obama was running for president, and here I am performing in this backyard in the south side of Chicago. So I had like a lot of like pro Obama jokes and stuff, and making fun of McCain, and
Yeah.
so I killed. Yeah,
Okay.
I
Okay.
killed, and there's this woman there named Diane Corder.
Okay.
She said, come out, check out my room. It's like the first open mic I ever see. I was doing booked shows
Okay.
before doing open mics,
Okay.
which once
Okay.
again I was doing it ass backwards. So then I go to her room, the Red Pepper, which I think it was like South 97th Street or something like that. So they didn't want to let me in at first. Like when I
Yeah.
show up, my wife and I show up. They didn't want to let us in. They said my wife was too young because she was like in her. I think she's like 21 or 22 at the time.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they're like, no, 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 this is only like 30 and over. I'm like, but Diane Quarter invited us. Diane invited you? I'm like, yeah. They're like, well, get it, Diane. They're like, yeah. She said, you can come in.
Okay.
And I bombed so hard, but I learned a lot that night.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
also met Reggie Reg that night.
Okay.
Brilliant, brilliant comic. And Diane Quarter, I always refer to her as the queen of Chicago comedy, the matriarch of Chicago comedy. She's another person who's helped nurture so many comedians, and I don't feel that she gets the flowers that she deserves, but
Okay.
she is great. I lost touch with her. It's like I'll see her pictures pop up on Facebook every once in a while,
Mm-hmm.
but she's not on Facebook. And I tried calling her, and her number was disconnected. But okay, so if anyone who knows Diane Corder is watching this, I want to have her back out. I guess I
Okay.
brought her out for a couple shows back in the day, but I want to bring her out again.
Oh, that's
She
dope.
is, I
Yeah.
mean, to me, she's definitely been one of the most important people in my career, just because of the encouragement and the inspiration.
Wow. Yeah, that's dope, man. How long have you been doing? I don't know if I really asked this question, but like, how long have you been doing shows in Rockford?
From the start, because my first show was at the Irish Rose.
Okay.
So then, as far as how long I started producing, like shortly, I mean, it's almost as soon as I got into comedy,
Okay.
I started
Yeah.
producing my own shows. And at first, I sucked at producing. That's all. I shouldn't say all. There's been some people who their first shows they produce, it's magic. but no, I sucked at producing at first, and then I started the public library on the east side had a cafe called the Bookworm Cafe,
Hmm.
and that was like the first really successful show that I had.
Mm.
So I'm like inside the library cafe and producing the show, and we're bringing out Chastity Washington from Def Comedy Jam. We're bringing out Peter John Burns, who wrote for Mad Magazine.
Yeah.
We're bringing all these people. There's a little cafe in the library, and actually before that, CJ's. I produced a show at CJ's,
Yeah.
which is practically across the street from where we were last night.
Okay.
But yeah, I did that for a year with a co-producer with a gentleman named Jason SSG, and unfortunately, he's no longer with us.
Mm.
But man, so much love and respect to him for making that possible.
Yeah.
And I mean that was a hard show to produce. It was
Yeah.
hard, hard getting finding comics because I was still new to the scene. I mean, Facebook wasn't even a big thing at the time. It was MySpace.
Okay.
So we were,
Yeah.
so there was that, and then
Is it hard to get people to come to Rockford, especially since like it's, I mean, what like around that time you would you say that Rockford was really known like that?
it was I mean, I always managed to find
Oh,
comics for the shows, but it's always tricky. I mean, to find a comic who's going to be the right fit for a room,
mm.
who's going to be like who's going to also be able to work with the budget and such. And
Okay. I imagine you asking somebody that hasn't been to Rockford or just introduce them to Rockford. They're like, "What the fuck is Rockford?"
yeah,
Yeah.
oh yeah. I mean, well, you heard well, that's exactly what Ken said last
Yeah.
night.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he did a fantastic job.
Yeah,
He's
man.
like Ken Hamlet. I was like, what the fuck is a Rockford? Yeah,
Yeah, no, yeah, dude. Um, yeah, but
yeah,
yeah, man, they did an amazing job, man.
yeah,
Yeah, it was definitely dope.
yeah, yeah.
Uh, and dude, like, cause I've been here since 2007, right? Before that, I was in the South Side Chicago. I was born in the South
Okay,
Side Chicago.
cool.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Um, I was dumb as fuck, bro. I didn't know anything about anything in
yeah.
Chicago until I came to Rockford, and then I realized, like, whoa, man, I could have gotten shot when I was little,
Yeah,
Yeah. But
dude. You know what's funny is like before I married my wife, I dated this one girl for like I think we lived together for we were together for just shy of 3 years,
yeah,
and she was originally from Southside Chicago, so there were times we went back to visit her old neighborhood.
yeah.
And if I like saw like someone make like some there's a Southside comedian make a joke about it, posted this picture of what I think was probably like some luxury spot in Greece.
Yeah,
It's just here in Chicago, come check out, 78th and Cottage Grove. It's a breathtaking scene.
yeah.
And I realized, oh, the joke's supposed to be this the opposite of this, and that's where I was, when it's like, and it was a cool neighborhood.
Yeah,
They had
yeah,
delicious food, the people were cool.
yeah.
But I mean, I guess I was there during the day,
Hmm.
and then and also I think that when you're not part of that,
Yeah,
when you're not, people smell the outsider on you,
yeah,
and they leave you alone because they don't want to deal with all the bullshit that brings along. If
yeah.
you like if you kill someone who's not no I don't know. I mean, I don't know what am I talking about? I don't know how that works. But I think
Yeah.
it's like a lot of times you're safe. I think in any community, in a way, you're safer being the outsider. In a
Okay.
way,
Oh, okay. Yeah.
you're safer. I mean, but I don't know. I don't know. I guess that's just like whatever. I mean, I've had nothing but good experiences
Mm.
on the south side of Chicago, except for that time that I bombed at Red Pepper. But
Yeah,
but
yeah.
that's like the worst experience I've had. Now that could just be God watching over me. But
Wait,
yeah,
yeah, with you saying that you've performed in Chicago, were you ever like worried you would have you could have said something and then like a group of people because Chicago, right? Like
yeah.
you could say the wrong thing and end up with a bullet, man. Were you ever has that anything like that ever happened while performing out there or anywhere?
No,
No.
no,
Oh,
'cause I wasn't making it through 90 traffic.
oh, okay. Yeah.
I mean, I know way more people who have gotten hurt or killed on the highway
Oh, okay. Yeah.
than from saying the wrong thing.
Yeah.
And I mean, And also, I mean, I'm not someone who goes out, especially if I think like what the population is, the demographics of Southside Chicago. I mean, I don't think any of my comedies like really geared at offending them
Yeah,
and challenging them.
yeah.
I mean, hopefully, I didn't say and nothing I said last night. You would feel challenged who you are as a person.
No, no, definitely
Yeah,
didn't. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
So I mean, it's like mostly. I mean,
But I only asked that,
yeah,
bro, because like, you know, the beginning, you don't know what's
yeah,
offensive. You don't know the rules. You don't know the keywords in a way.
yeah.
That might trigger an audience. So yeah,
Yeah,
I only
I mean,
asked
there's
that.
other places,
Yeah.
where yeah, I mean, when I go to, I mean, like for example, I love doing like rural bars, blue collar bars and stuff.
Okay.
But I realized that a lot of the ideas that I express might contradict a lot of their ideology.
Okay.
So the trick
Yeah.
there is like, let me make you laugh about it and think about it at the same time.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I mean, and it's not to say that my ideology is necessarily in sync
Mm,
with, let's say, someone in the south side of Chicago or whatever. But I think I'm less informed on the areas where I would disagree with them. So I
okay.
have less authority to speak.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So, what would you say how, how would you say your comedy is?
I was, I
If
don't,
I mean, I don't know if that's like an offensive thing to ask or say. So if you don't feel comfortable, man,
I
you
was,
don't. Yeah.
yeah, or I mean, I guess we'll narrow down the question a bit. Like, how am I comedy? Hopefully, it's funny. First and foremost, hopefully, it's funny, and hopefully, it makes people think.
Oh, okay.
Hopefully, it makes people think about things
Like,
a little different.
are you a joke teller? Are you a riffer? Are you
I can riff,
like a
and
quick jokester?
yeah, I can riff, and I enjoy riffing. I love doing that, but there's only so much of it you can do while you're hosting.
Oh, okay, okay,
Because
okay, okay.
then there's two things. One, I mean, unfortunately, with the comments that were on the bill last night, I mean, those guys are, especially Ronnie. I mean, Ronnie's whole set was crowd work last night. I
Yeah.
mean, he does have material. I don't want people to think, oh, he doesn't have it. No, he's got material, but he's great at crowd work.
Oh yeah, dude. He and dude,
Yeah,
I should you not, man. I feel like he was looking at me to really give me a good one.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah, but yeah, he was a great guy, man. I hope
yeah,
whatever I gave him was
yeah.
like good enough to work with.
I think so. Yeah,
I was
and
definitely nervous, man,
yeah,
because like I said, I really don't go out. So when he called me, I was kind of nervous at the same time, like, oh shit, hopefully I can
yeah.
answer and give him the right.
I try and incorporate at least a little bit of crowd work in every set
Yeah,
because I
yeah,
want the audience. I mean, first and foremost, I'm there for the audience,
yeah,
and I want them to know that. I want them to know that the performance is a conversation, even though most of the conversation is me speaking words and them responding with either laughter, applause, or getting up and leaving. But it's a conversation,
Okay, yeah,
and but I do like to make sure that they're aware of that.
yeah.
Subconsciously, probably more than anything, but that they are aware that they're aware that I'm aware that it's a two-way street.
Okay, yeah,
And that's why a lot of my jokes start out with a question.
yeah.
Like, let me see, what were some of the questions I asked last night? But like, oh yeah, like I heard that men go for women who remind of their moms. Do you think this is true?
Hmm.
And most people have an opinion on that one. It's interesting. More people have an opinion on that than they do what's their favorite band or what's their favorite music.
Yeah, yeah, okay.
It's funny, like how many people just freeze up when you tell them what kind of music do you like? Even after they volunteered to tell us, like, how many of y'all like music? I love music. Really, what kind of music you like? Everything. You
Yeah,
fucking
yeah,
liar. No, you don't.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, that's dope, man. Hell yeah, man.
Yeah. So I do try to do crowd work, but I see myself definitely a joke writer in
Mm,
that I do take my real life experiences and try to condense them into jokes, try to distill them into jokes,
okay,
and then build a story out of those jokes.
okay,
But
yeah,
it's definitely I would definitely say a joke writer, a joke teller. But these jokes are all based on real life stories.
okay, that's cool. Yeah, and uh, do you always try to host, or like, is your do you try to host, or do you prefer to perform?
I prefer to just perform. If I went the rest of my life never hosting a show again, I'd be perfectly cool with that.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I wouldn't be like, oh man, yeah. I wish I could be the guy who had the sacrificial lamb who has to get out there when people don't even realize it's a comedy night,
Yeah, yeah,
and they're
yeah.
like, "Well, is it karaoke? What's he doing up there?
Yeah,
He sucks at singing, you know."
yeah. But yeah, bro. Like, I wouldn't have found this little world. Well, I mean, I don't know how
Yeah.
little, bro. Obviously, it was just my first time yesterday in
It's like an
Rockford. I
ant
mean,
farm,
yeah,
it's
yeah.
like an ant colony. I'll put it that way.
Okay,
Anywhere you go, there's ant colonies.
yeah,
But to the average person, that's just an ant hill. They're not thinking about there's a worker in there, there's a drone in there, there's a queen in there.
yeah, yeah. Man.
That's just it. That's just in. Good thing I stepped in an ant hill. Oh well. You know, and
Hmm.
I think it's the same way with comedy scenes. It's the same way with punk rock scenes, with hip hop scenes, with art scenes,
Yeah.
with poetry scenes.
Yeah. What do you like to perform most of your events? Like in Rockford, Lowe's Park, or
Yeah.
around like Elgin?
Actually, let me tell you my favorite bit. Dude, I love performing at Comedy Sports in Milwaukee.
Oh, okay, really?
That's a really fun venue, and the gentleman who produces the stand up show out there, um, yeah, I always mess up his last name, Matthew Filipowicz.
Hmm.
I mean, he's honestly like one of the best people in this business.
Okay.
He is just such an amazing human being, and I still haven't learned how to say his last name right. But yeah, Matthew Filipowicz,
Yeah.
and
It's okay, bro. I don't even know how to read.
that's yeah. I feel like if he says his name backwards, he'll like return to the fifth dimension.
Yeah, yeah, man. Is it like a big venue or a little venue?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I mean, for a while there, it was like Milwaukee's only comedy club for a
Oh,
while.
okay.
Yeah,
Oh,
I mean,
shit.
but now like they've got an improv just outside Milwaukee in Brookfield. And there's a Laughing Tap.
Have you
Yeah,
ever done any improv
like improv comedy or performed at the Improv Comedy Club.
or like yeah, actually the improv?
I did for a year, and just because there was a group out here in Rockford, and it's not for me.
Oh,
I
okay,
mean, I
okay.
met some great people doing it, but it's not for me.
Okay. Yeah.
I mean, it was. Yeah, I respect people who can do it well. I mean, Mars Timms, he runs a show called Pimprov in
Okay.
Chicago. It's just pimp based improv.
Okay. Yeah. Like their pimp
Yeah,
cups and stuff.
yeah, and he's great. I mean, that whole group is great.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, unless I can work up to that level, there's no point in doing it. So there's people who are great at it,
Okay. Yeah,
and
I only asked that too as
yeah,
well because I was watching the podcast and you mentioned that you did like some scenes in the movie. And I thought,
yeah.
you doing comedy, you probably did improv, which motivated you to do like movie scenes and stuff.
Oh, it's just like I was approached with some opportunities, and I took them. I mean, they paid well, and
How
I
was it?
enjoyed it. I mean, I don't
Yeah,
want to
yeah,
make it sound like it's like oh, it's somebody, yeah,
yeah.
but yeah, I mean,
What
if
was
I
it like different from doing comedy?
acting,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Really?
yeah.
Yeah.
Said I'm saying someone else's words,
Okay,
and
well, yeah,
yeah.
but should you not? I thought it would have been easy because every comedian after a while does like some type of acting.
Mm,
Not the
not yeah,
popular.
a lot
Yeah,
do, yeah, a
yeah,
lot do, but there's a lot who don't. Also,
yeah,
I mean, and
yeah,
also I think there's a lot. Is I almost feel like there's two types of people who go into comedy, maybe even three types.
yeah. Okay.
There's people who go into stand-up comedy. There's those who want to be celebrities.
Hmm.
There's those who want to be writers, and those who just want to be stand-up comedians.
Okay.
For a lot of people, I think it's a stepping stone to something else.
Okay. Yeah, yeah. I didn't really look at it that way. Neither did I look at like writing being an option. I thought it was doing stand up or being an actor.
Yeah,
For comedians and stuff.
yeah. No,
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of writers who come out of stand-up comedy.
Mm.
Like for example, like Dave Hellum from Chicago. I know he's been writing for like TV shows and stuff. I'm not sure for what shows he's been writing. I haven't done a good job keeping up with it,
Yeah.
but he's a cool guy, and I'm so happy for him. He just got married. I
Okay.
know Vanessa Fraction, one of my very favorite comics, definitely on my Mount Rushmore of living comics. and she's writing for House of Raven for the Disney Channel.
Oh shit. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So, or Raven's House, that's what it is, Raven's House, and
Okay.
she's writing for that. So, I mean, I'm so happy. She also just got married.
Okay.
Man, maybe there's something about like
Again.
I'm surprised. There was another thing I did to ask backwards. I got married before having a writing job.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Have you read anything for anybody? Or
No, not
oh,
like
okay.
not along those lines. And even like, I mean, I think I like wrote like a couple of things for the paper.
Mhm.
The Rockford's
Register
bar
Star.
newspaper.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. That's dope.
yeah. And so I think I wrote a couple of things for them, but other than that, and I got a friend who contributes to the Onion regularly,
Okay.
Gender Bent, and she lives out here also,
Oh,
and
that's
she's
dope.
got also like an LGBT version of the Onion called Queer Coded.
Oh, really?
But actually, one of my jokes made it into that, but that's because the comic who wrote that article didn't realize that was a joke that I still use in my stand up.
Mm.
He thought it was just something that I said, that I just that I just said. Like, no, that's also part of my set. But cool. I'm
Yeah.
glad of that because actually I did a college gig for an LGBT group, and they got a and I think the person who booked me, I didn't find out until like a year later.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
the person who booked me got offended by that joke.
Yeah.
And I'm like, nah, it wasn't meant. It did not come from a hateful place. And the
Yeah.
fact that it was used by a trans person
Mm.
in an LGBT publication was perfect vindication. It's like,
Yeah.
all right, when you found us offensive, like actual LGBT humorists found as found to be material. And
Do you feel like it's getting harder for comedy, especially with all the restriction on like words and like?
dude, let me ask you this: do you think that you, being who you are, getting up on stage and let's say I shouldn't say anywhere in Illinois, but let's say somewhere in rural Arkansas, do you
Hmm.
think you'd have the freedom to say whatever you wanted to say like 20 years ago, 30 years ago?
Actually, yeah, you got a point there.
Yeah,
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 yeah. Well, I'm
yeah,
just saying because you're just mentioning the LGBTQ and then that Dave Chappelle stuff,
yeah,
and like I haven't been keeping up too much up with it, but like I feel like I may be wrong. This is just the opinion of a dumbass, So,
yeah.
but fucking. I just think that and now it's just getting hard because you can say you when a person prefers to be called I. So and
And what's the difficulty there of just saying? I mean, I'll tell you this. Like I remember, I met this one young lady who very much looked black.
okay, yeah,
I believe, if I remember correctly, her mom's Puerto Rican, her father's black. She identifies Puerto Rican. It wasn't that hard to say, "Oh, you're Puerto. Okay, cool. You're Latina. You're one of us. Cool."
mm.
Not to say that black people aren't one of us. I mean,
What's up, guys? I definitely want to show some love to my boy Rick Rivera, aka Vic Monster Man. He started his own podcast, Beats, Breaks, Boom Bap, and Beyond. What's up, guys? I definitely want to show some love to my boy Vic Rivera, aka Vic Monster Man. He started his own podcast, Beats, Breaks, Boom Bap, and Beyond. Come out on Spotify and Apple Music. Uh, he releases a video or audio. He releases the podcast every Monday morning. The history in Rockford of hip hop before it was really a thing in Rockford, which is very interesting, very dope, man. You really see history being made in Rockford. So definitely check him out. I appreciate you, Vic, man, for everything. So definitely check him out, and let's get back to the video, guys. Thank you so much.
yeah.
Cameraman, last time it freaking froze on me, but yeah, man. And
Honestly, it takes more effort to argue with someone about that person's identity
hmm,
than it does to just accept it.
okay, yeah. Yeah, me, bro, here at Z Studios, myself, I'm open minded,
Yeah,
and I'm always willing to get corrected because, like that one fucking podcast I mentioned, bro. I didn't know that. I didn't know people
yeah,
like black people don't like to really be called black no more. They like to be called African and shit. So I'm always open here. So definitely correct me if I'm
yeah.
ever, yeah,
And it depends on the person.
yeah, yeah.
I mean, One thing though is, can we please get white people to stop saying Latinx? Can we please, white people stop it?
Dude, for real, I feel like
Stop
an
it.
X-Man. Like
I
that shit
know.
that makes burritos out of thin
Yeah.
air or something, you know?
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, after a while, bro, like I mean, me, I really don't care. I always considered myself a Mexican American,
Yeah.
Chicano.
I've noticed that. It's like, yeah, a Chicano. There's a term you don't hear a lot in Rockford.
But
I mean, yeah.
you know that that's a derogatory term for like less than a Mexican,
Wait, some people see it as derogatory.
or you know,
I always thought it was an empowering term. I always thought it was supposed to be an empowering
me
term.
too, dude. And then like not too long ago, like that word Chicano actually means less than a Mexican to a real Mexican. So when a full Mexican calls you
Yeah.
Chicano, is that he's actually calling you less than a Mexican because you know you have American in you. And tell, tell me why, bro. And
Well, dude, I mean,
I was so I was so proud of being a
yeah,
Chicano,
yeah,
bro.
dude. I think if you and I went to Mexico right now, we'd be less than Mexicans, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah. And yeah, bro. I mean, I never
Yeah.
knew shit like that, but you know.
Dude, my dad was born in Mexico,
Yeah.
and when he went back a few years ago, he like forgot like some step of the paperwork,
Yeah.
and he had to pay had to pay a fine for it. You know, we
Okay.
found out he was less than Mexican at that point. Like, he's like, no, you got American cheese on you. We can smell it. Yeah,
Yeah, dude. Um, so
yeah,
do you ever feel like it's hard to be Mexican in a comic in Rockford? I don't know if I really asked.
yeah. Sure. I mean, it's an additional challenge. Yeah, I mean, once again, I mean, this is something. Oh, I hate to bring it up, but it needs to be said
Yeah.
that there's a. I mean, I've gone to venues before and approached it like, "Yo, here's my resume. You can see like all the stuff I've done, and I'd love to. I think your venue would be great for a comedy show." And the worst thing is like when they give you the runaround, it's like, "Oh yeah, we don't mind doing comedy," and then they go with a Caucasian who has less experience,
Mm.
especially with the Caucasian who has significantly less experience.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's like, man, it's like, all right, I see how it is.
Yeah. But do you
Yeah,
feel like it's because of the way you look? You know, long hair. You look like a
it's fine.
you look like a biker man that
Yeah,
sells meth and like tortures people.
yeah. You can also say I look. You can also say I look like our ancestors.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, it's like,
Yeah.
and that's the thing because I'm not acquiescing to these European standards.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's because I've quite literally. Oh wait, no, I was wearing a different hoodie today. I was gonna say, but I often wear well, shit. If you take off my tattoos, I mean, yeah, or take off my not my tattoo, take off my hoodie. I quite literally, wear my culture on my sleeves.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
And dude, I hope
yeah.
when I say stuff like that, you don't take it personal.
No, I mean no, because yeah, that's a counterpoint that I get, and I'm glad you bring that up.
Yeah,
It's good. You're playing devil's advocate, and that's good.
yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
I
and
try, bro, but
yeah,
like I said, you know, dumbass can't read.
yeah, and
So
that's what people need to think about because that it's one excuse they want to go to, and they want to apologize for bigotry.
hmm,
It's like, oh yeah, well, it's the way you look. Well, okay, so how do I look? How do you describe who? Where does this look come from?
hmm,
It comes from our ancestors.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
And dude, like I said, at any time, bro. Well, I mean,
yeah,
I didn't really say it, but
yeah,
like at any time, definitely riff on me, bro. Because like I said, bro, I
yeah,
love comedy. I mean, the whole reason why I ask these questions and ask them the way I asked them because you know we're about that hour and 10 minutes, you know.
yeah,
Um, I definitely thought about doing comedy, and you know, I mean, obviously, I've never done it, bro.
yeah. It's
But
worth a shot. I mean, I run an open mic.
I know,
We just
yeah.
moved it to actually we just moved it from first Tuesday to second Monday.
Second Monday of every month.
Yes,
Oh,
that's
okay,
the plan so far.
okay,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah, yeah. And yeah, bro. I mean, obviously, I know I'm not gonna kill, but I definitely want to bomb. It's weird, you know?
yeah,
Yeah, because a little backstory, if I can, real quick. So I've been a failure for generally most of my life, right? The only thing that I feel like I've ever was good at was my art, you know?
yeah,
But even then, I was a fuck up because, you know, I started to sell weed because it was getting me more attention. I thought I was a badass. So I dropped the drawing and then you know I feel like my skills are way low, feel like a failure, right? And never done anything, so I start this podcast, and this is the only thing that like people are like, man, you're doing justice to the community or the people you have on, you know. and then so I'm getting all these compliments. I don't know how to feel about it, and
That's great. That's
yeah,
great. No, no.
and
Yeah, same way. I felt like a failure at everything else I did until I got into comedy. It's like, oh, okay, this is working. Cool.
yeah, yeah, and then when you hear comics, bro, like you generally hear how when they're starting, they feel like failures. You know, and I'm not saying I'm gonna be a
Yeah.
big comedian, but from all these compliments, I definitely want to bomb to know it's real. You know, and it's not my plan or
Yeah.
my dream to bomb, but I want to go out there, see what I can do. And if I bomb, I want to feel alive,
Yeah.
even if it's bad. You
That's
know.
understandable. No, and I would say, I mean, yeah, I think when you, I think, yeah, definitely a lot of comedians get into this feeling like failures. I mean, realistically speaking, imagine, I mean, if you could be successful at something else. I mean, if you could be a successful CEO,
Yeah.
if you could be a successful stock trader, if you could be a successful inventor, you could be a successful entrepreneur. Why not? Why not do that? Yeah, I mean, you could
Yeah.
have successes. It also depends on how you measure success.
Yeah. Yeah.
But if you could do something successful that you could just live off of without having to worry constantly where your next meal's coming from, and that's kind of how comedy is. You constantly, I mean, my wife has a steady job, so that's a huge blessing that I have right there.
Okay.
But but man, if I didn't have her, shit, I don't know, probably living out of my car or something. I don't know.
Yeah, yeah. I
Yeah,
mean, same here. My parents, they're the
yeah,
ones who let me stay here, but
yeah,
yeah, I feel like the troll of the family, you know, because I'm in the basement.
yeah,
But
yeah,
yeah, man, yeah, man, and yeah, I just wanna, and I also want to bring the, comedy. I want to shine light to the comedy in Rockford because, like I said, I didn't
yeah,
even know this shit was here, bro.
yeah.
All the things you did, and not too long ago, bro, one of my favorite comedians, Bobby Lee. Uh, like I was backtracking to one of his podcast episodes, and tell me why when there was a waterfront, he came to one of the waterfronts.
I didn't know that. That's
Me
awesome.
neither,
Yeah,
bro. When
yeah,
I heard that, bro, I literally ripped my room from
yeah,
part to part, bro. Because he's one of my favorite comedians. Obviously, he doesn't have a special, but I remember seeing him from Mad
yeah,
TV, and then
yeah.
he had that hiatus, which that bullshit that happened with him in Mencia.
I didn't. Wait, what happened with him and Mencia?
When Joe Rogan confronted him
Yeah,
about stealing jokes,
yeah.
so, Bobby Lee got caught in the crossfire because of something.
Ooh.
Yeah, yeah, and so around
Yeah,
that time,
yeah,
he wasn't really showing up in anything, and then around 2014, 15, that's when I found his podcast, and then that's when I started binge watching him because he was always a favorite person, actor, comedian
yeah.
of mine. So when I saw his podcast, bro, I just fell in love, and then from him, I went to Joe Rogan, and then from Joe
The guy
Rogan.
who ruined his career in the first place.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah, and because they would have
yeah,
he was mentioning Joe Rogan and the incident, and then I went to go to Joe Rogan's
yeah.
podcast.
All I say is like, man, when I found out about Tupac's music, I immediately started listening to Notorious B.I.G.
Yeah, 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 and yeah, dude.
Yeah,
So yeah, and I just want to I want to get into the comedian community if I can, or if I'm like
yeah,
worthy. You know.
yeah. When I first heard Leonard Skinner's music, I immediately got into airplanes.
Oh, really?
'Cause, I mean, the plane crash and killed like half of them, and like,
Okay. Oh, yeah, yeah,
I'm sure Neil Young had nothing to do with it. No, okay.
yeah, yeah, dude. Yeah, man. Yeah. Um. What else, man? Yeah. Well, since we are about the hour and 15 minutes, what would you like to tell anybody in Rockford that's looking for the comedian area, or who's who's trying to be in the comedian scene?
Just do it. What I mean? Come out to the open mic at the VFW second Monday of the month.
Definitely
Get up
follow
and
you because
yeah,
going through you,
yeah,
you do find a lot of more events. Because
yeah, yeah,
so far, before I met you or added you on Facebook, dude, I had like no mentions really of comedy scenes until I added you. Then that's
yeah.
when I started seeing all these events, and I was like, oh hell yeah, dude.
Yeah, and that's what's really cool. It's like right to the north. My buddy Jose Montero,
Okay.
another Mexicano, was also producing a lot of shows and stuff throughout Wisconsin, and I'm really proud of all the progress he's making. And then and also go and support shows.
Mm.
I mean, think about it. I mean, look at it like this. I think the worst piece of advice I hear comedians give other comedians, especially like let me rephrase that. I hear Chicago comedians
Okay.
giving like small town comedians, it's like, man, you need to get some open mics going in your scene. Why?
Mm.
Why? I mean, open mics, if you think about it, for anyone starting comedy, what's your goal? 10 years from now, do you want to be touring and getting paid for your craft? Or do you want to be working for free? Working for free, watching other comedians, watching 15 other comedians go up before you.
Okay.
What would you rather do? If you'd rather work for free and watch 15 other comedians go up after, then yeah, then by all means, you know, just do open mics.
Mm.
But if you want to get paid for your work, go watch comedians who are getting paid.
Mm.
Go watch comedians who are on tour. Talk to them. That's what networking is. I mean,
Mm.
and that goes with any job.
Okay. Yeah.
I mean, with any, excuse me.
Very good.
I mean, like with any other, especially in the arts, but really with any other job. I mean, it's about networking,
Yeah, that's true, man.
and you're gonna learn. I mean, you're gonna get more opportunities by by developing relationships with people who are already working in the field than when someone else who's still at the student level.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're like, let's say you want to be a lawyer, you need to get more job opportunities talking to someone who's already a working lawyer
Yeah.
than someone else is going to law school with you.
Yeah.
If you want to be a plumber, you're going to get more working opportunities by talking to someone who's already working in plumbing than someone who just got his first wrench.
Yeah.
But I mean, get on stage, do it, but also watch the people who are doing it.
And get a
And
hold of
really,
you.
ideally, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
because
But I
I
mean, I
mean,
don't want to sound so. Yeah, I don't want to sound like I've just got this ulterior motive of just just go through me. And hopefully, I mean, I'm assuming the people who are watching, let's call it your YouTube show, because we're not just it's not just it's not just the audio. People are seeing us also.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
The people are watching your talk show.
yeah, yeah,
Watching your talk show, listening to the podcast. I mean, ideally, it's probably people from around the country, maybe even around the world. I don't know.
yeah.
But yeah, wherever you are,
Yeah, well,
go find out.
generally, like people in Rockford definitely do touch this podcast first before it kind of spreads out. I mean, who knows? Maybe people that have subscribed to my channel probably watch it from other places. But I only ask to get a hold of you because unless you know of some other people around Rockford or around the area that people should get a hold of.
I think I want talk to Jose Montero.
Okay.
Jose Montero, he's a cool guy. Tara Terry, who's I mean, Tara's been doing it for a long time. She just opened for Tommy Davidson.
Hmm.
Reach out to her. The who else would I say who's been doing it for a while now? And who? Dude, Kevin Haas.
Kevin Haas?
Talk to Kevin Haas. I think he'd have an interesting perspective because Kevin's not. He's not trying to be a touring comic,
Okay.
but he just happens to be really damn funny and really really good at what he does.
Okay.
I mean, he's a journalist first and foremost,
Okay. Yeah.
but he's a fantastic comedian. And I talked to Vicky Lynn. I mean, she's someone who kind of I would say this and put it like in full context. Okay, she came up under me, but it's a great case of the student becoming the teacher because
Okay.
she grew a following, and just I found myself to a point where I'm watching her now. I'm like watching, okay, what is she doing that I can from which I can learn,
Okay. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
there's a lot there to be learned.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, those are definitely some people that whom I would recommend, and
Yeah, yeah. Hopefully, I could get him on the pod, man. If you can ever give him a recommend, or if you can ever give them recommendation for me, and then
Okay.
yeah, man.
Oh,
Because I like I said, bro, I definitely want comedians to come on here. I definitely want to get riffed on, man. I don't know why, man.
yeah.
Like I feel like I can't masturbate in peace without getting riffed on. I'm feeling like a piece
Yeah, yeah.
of
And you want to get
shit.
ripped on.
Yeah, ripped on, yeah, or riffed or how
You just want to get roasted. You
yeah,
want to get
yeah.
roasted
Well, I mean,
on your podcast?
yeah, I mean, like
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, man, I watch Joe Rogan, man. So when I see him bring on his buddies,
Yeah.
that do comedy or anybody that he's
Yeah.
buddies with, man, like they talk shit to each other, man.
Yeah. I mean, it's. I think it's different when two people who are well acquainted with each other
Yeah, yeah.
roast each other.
But
Then
I definitely want to meet these people beforehand,
yeah,
because like I did yesterday.
yeah,
Yeah, and well, I mean, I was trying to do that like Monday. I was trying to like meet up with you Monday, but shit happened, so I met up with you yesterday after after I did a podcast with a friend and shit.
yeah,
Dude, I was so worried. I was like, man, I'm late. I'm late. They're not gonna let me in, bro.
yeah. No, I mean, man, that's the thing about Rockford. Is like, we know everyone's gonna be, which is everyone, but we know there's gonna be like a lot of people still coming in like halfway through the show.
And I don't want to do that because I don't
Yeah,
want to seem rude.
yeah.
Like, oh, who's this
Honestly,
asshole?
better late than never.
Okay,
I mean, what's rude is when people. The idea, what I'll say
hecklers.
is better late than never, and I'll just leave it. And if people have to come out early and they have to leave early because they got to get up for work or they got to get back to the babysitter or whatever,
Yeah, yeah,
that's cool too. I'm just happy if people come out.
yeah, yeah, man.
What pisses me off is
Hecklers.
shit. You know what? Yeah, I mean heckler. I mean, I'm definitely not encouraging anyone to heckle.
Yeah, yeah.
But shit, especially if it's the money, if it's the show's got tickets or whatever, it's like okay, we got your money. We'll kick you out, and we got your money.
Yeah, dude.
I mean, realistically speaking, I don't want to jinx myself, but I mean, we never
Yeah.
had to kick out a heckler at any of the shows that I've produced.
Okay.
Here's what pisses me off. It's like okay, like with the whole Chappelle thing.
Okay.
Okay, when you got two sides here. Well, actually, there's multiple sides. I mean, really, but like two
Right?
of the biggest complaints I hear
Yeah, yeah.
is where you've got people saying, well, he's demeaning the trans community. What his words are going to lead to violence, and I'm not going to argue that point.
Mm.
And people are saying, people just when a black man tries to get up and speak, and speak, what's on his mind, people immediately want to cancel him. Okay, that's another perspective. I'm not going to speak on that. What I will say is like, okay, if you're that worried about the trans community, then go on and support trans comics.
Mm.
Support trans musicians, support trans painters, support whatever it is that the trans people in your community are doing and that you're into. Go out and support that. If you're worried about black voices being heard, go out and support black comics, support black musicians. I mean, when I say support black musicians, I'm not saying add to Jay-Z's billions. I do love Jay-Z, but
Yeah.
I'm not saying
Underground.
don't spend like $200 to go see Jay Z at a stadium. I mean, support cats like Michael Mychek here in
Yeah.
Rockford.
Oh, you know him?
I love the motherfuckers. Yeah,
Okay, okay.
Michael Mychek and Chris Jeeves and
Oh,
those.
okay. Yeah,
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 those
yeah.
guys.
Definitely
And
show
also,
us.
and I mean, shit, and we're gonna talk about Rockford hip hop. I mean, The Godfather. Suede. Got to talk about him.
Yeah.
And also, rest in peace, Paradise. The Hustle and Culture crew.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, those guys are absolutely brilliant. Go support those people.
Yeah,
If
man. Yeah.
you're if you're worried about black people having a platform, support the people in your community. If you're listening to this in Nebraska, go find out who the trans people in Nebraska are, the trans people or the black people in Nebraska. Better yet, support black trans comics like KJ Whitehead. She's
Oh, okay.
phenomenal and very very bold. You know,
Yeah, yeah, still
yeah,
do. Yeah. Sorry about that, man. I'm burping
yeah.
over here and shit, bro.
Yeah. Actually, I think what I did the other day, I got so sick of hearing people rip on Hannah Gaspy.
Okay.
And I had no idea who she was. I just know she's a comedian. So I'm like, okay, I just gotta let her special play on Netflix so I go and do some other stuff.
Yeah.
And that's what I did because I got sick of people ripping on her. It's like, oh, how dare she, how dare she, question more popular comedians or whatever. It's like,
Yeah.
okay, I just let her special play. Let her get those that Netflix algorithm.
Yeah,
I can't tell you a single joke from her, but I gave it a thumbs up. Yeah,
yeah. Yeah, dude. Yeah,
yeah.
man. I
And
feel.
support Latino comics.
Yeah, yeah.
Support Latino comics who look like Aztec bikers. Yeah,
Yeah, dude.
and
Man.
who are immune to winter. Yeah,
Yeah, dude. Yeah, that
yeah,
winter's gonna come bad.
yeah.
Come bad. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you do events in the winter time?
Yeah, dude. Actually, that's for the longest time that was considered like prime time for comedy.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Okay. I
because
shit you not. I thought I would assume like summer, maybe. Summer.
summer used to be considered the off season,
Oh,
but now
really?
one, I mean,
What?
weather itself has changed.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah,
like,
yeah.
and also business has changed, and
Yeah,
so
man.
I mean, so now it's a lot more hit or miss.
Hmm.
I mean, there's getting more hits in the summer and more misses in the winter.
Okay.
But it's yeah.
Yeah, okay.
I mean,
Yeah.
I wish summertime was like the prime time, and wintertime we could just hibernate. That'd be awesome.
Yeah. Yeah,
But
dude.
no, yeah, I'll be bare knuckling it or white knuckling it through a lot of icy roads.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Man. But I can't wait, man, for real. Cause shit, I be bored sometimes. I mean, I really don't go out too much, cause like I said, I got some shit I be doing. I'll show you too after the podcast,
Okay,
man. Yeah,
cool.
yeah. No, uh, but yeah, I can't wait, man. So with every guest that comes on, bro, I always give some of my time for you giving me some of your time. So you don't gotta show the camera.
I guess you're gonna do an interpretive dance.
No, that's after the podcast, man.
Yeah. Oh, thank you so much, man. I really
Yeah,
appreciate that. Thank you.
yeah. It's like a coaster.
Nice.
It's not clear coated, so just like if you put something on, it's gonna go where you
Yeah.
could use it
So
as
it's a coaster that doesn't coast.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. A coastless, and then some stickers that don't stick. So some stickers.
The stick. Seriously, they don't stick.
No,
Or?
yeah, they stick. Yeah.
Okay.
Like I
Let's
said,
see.
man, I definitely love to be a jokester. I
Yeah.
love riffing and stuff.
Let's see. I'm trying. Okay, you're gonna have to interpret this one for me. I'm trying to. What's
Yeah,
his name?
Marcos.
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah, yeah.
Nice.
Some
All right.
graffiti.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
See. If this one had been on top, I would have recognized my name right away. But
Yeah, man. Just some art pieces I made for
nice.
you,
Thank
bro.
you.
Yeah, man.
No, I greatly appreciate that.
Yeah, if you ever think we should collaborate, man, because
Yeah.
I can always come up with some nice merchandise ideas
Yeah.
or sketch something up and then you do whatever you want with them. Cause
Okay. Cool.
yeah, man. But
Yeah.
until then, man, Marcos, can you let us know one more time where should we follow you?
Okay. On Instagram at free.ki, on YouTube at youtube.com/comedian freak, and at Patreon at patreon.com/freaqui.
Thank you, Marcos, man. And until then, guys, stay tuned and stay safe. Oh, yeah.